Hi, my name's Omid Daryani. I'm the Senior Brand Manager for the EverQuest franchise. Welcome to the Roundtable. With me today is Lead Content Designer Steve Denuser.
Hello.
And we're here today talking about lore.
We are.
And lore is an interesting topic because I feel like for a lot of people, they feel that lore gets in the way of the game, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think as all of us are MMO players, and I think that we've been kind of conditioned to just kind of accept that as I want to go through the world and play and have fun content to explore, I have to click through dialogue bubbles or I have to watch long cutscenes. And this has just kind of become the currency that we pay as MMO players. And we're making a different kind of game, so we want to take a different approach to how story is delivered.
So no walls of text up front.
Right. There's nothing that works as a barrier to stop you from the fun.
Right. And so our poll on this question was, how do you like to consume the lore? And what we saw was, I think that the answer was really interesting because we saw very, very few people had one of the clear preferences. Like, I think 4% of people said they like it outside the game, 16% said cutscenes are great, but 46% at the time of recording say a mix. And to me, what that says is none of the ways that we traditionally do this get us excited.
Yeah, I think that's very fair, and it is one of those things where people's opinions tended to get very strong when they think of games that give them a ton of cutscenes that they can't click out of, or walls of dialogue bubbles. Like, they don't want those, but they're okay with a mix of things. And these are all tools that we want to keep on hand. They're all tools in our storytelling toolbox. So we certainly intend to make use of things like NPCs talking in the world, or perhaps cutscenes showing you significant events that are playing out. But we don't rely on those to get the story across for you. We want you to be exploring the world and have this very dynamic story that's playing out. At the same time, we do have those avenues open that people enjoy, such as books in the world or things out of game as well. And our fiction program has been a big success because of that.
Right. And can you talk a little bit about the fiction program?
Yeah. So we've worked with a group of authors who we've given kind of basic outlines and the history of the world. We spent a lot of time building this backstory for what's going on in Norath. And it's significantly different from what you've experienced in other EverQuest games. So drawing on that background, we've given our writers a lot of freedom to kind of create some new characters, explore older ones in new ways, and they've come up with some very interesting stories, and we've released several of them through our app and through the website.
Right, so what we're really doing is we're working together with a whole bunch of outside authors to flesh out that story. So it's not like one guy in a room who just writes the whole thing. We get dozens and dozens of fresh takes on stuff.
Yeah, and we have a lot of different voices, even on our own narrative team. We all bring different aspects to it, and some of us are diehard EverQuest fans. I've been a player since the launch of EQ. Others of us are coming at it very fresh, and so we have a good balance of trying to take some things that are familiar and kind of keep some of those things sacred and beautiful, and then taking fresh spins on some other things and going in new directions that haven't been explored in the franchise before.
How can we tell stories in a way that's more compelling?
Right, while still serving those people who just want to jump in and have fun. These days especially, people have limited time to play these games. They have certain windows. We have families, we have obligations. So we want to be able to jump in the world and get the sense of a story that's playing out around you that you can play a part in and help shape. But we don't want to lock you down where your first 15 minutes are spent watching cutscenes or clicking through bubbles. So it's this balancing act of creating this world that's rich, that has deep stories that you both have to figuratively and literally dig for, but there's places, if you have that time and you're the kind of player who loves the richness of lore, you can go to places in the world and you can explore the libraries of the Ashen Order, or you can go and find the writings of the Knights of Truth, and you can find those deep stories and histories and consume those as you'd want to. But for those players who just want to jump in and have some fun, you can go into an area in the game and see action playing out around you. And it's not something you have to go into a village and get a quest and be sent out to find. Just by naturally exploring the world, you come upon these events that are happening, these scenarios that are playing out.
Right, so if there's, say, orcs attacking a village, right, I don't need a wall of text to explain what's happening. I can run into that situation. I can make the choice as to what I want to do here. Do I want to intervene? Do I want to see how it's going to play out? Do I just not care and move on to the next thing? Right. And then if I decide that I care, then it's really easy for me to find additional story about it in the aftermath.
Yeah, definitely. And that ability to just jump in and be active right away is very important to us. The story's playing out all around you, and you can see it growing and changing. And thanks to the AI that we're going to have behind the game, the actions of the NPCs in the world, those orcs aren't there just for no reason, or they're not statically there. They're after something. And if you just want to jump in and stop them and save the villagers, you can do that. But if you want to explore why they're there and what they're doing, those stories are threaded in there, and you can follow those orcs back to their home base and see what's going on.
And kind of participate in them, right, by changing the outcomes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we fully expect that these stories that players are helping drive will play out differently across different servers. So players have an opportunity to move those pieces of story around in very tangible ways that you haven't been able to do in other games before.
Yeah, it's funny, I haven't spent tons and tons of time thinking about the problem of why I don't care when I get that wall of text. But now that I'm thinking about it, the problem is context, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know the names of any of these people or the locations or anything that's happening, until I go. Mm-hmm. So why would I actually read about it? Right. Getting that information in the context of the situation, that's kind of how we do things in real life.
Yeah, that's how movies deliver information to you a lot of times. That's how books, they drop you into the action and let you figure things out along the way. And that's kind of the approach that we're taking with the stories that are playing out in the world. At the same time, we make those deeper stories available to you. If you want to be the one who digs into the backstory, maybe there's this village and there's a fiction piece about that you can read and get some information out of game on. Or, like I said, you can go to libraries in-game and find out stories about these characters. Maybe you're fighting against this goblin warlord that's invading this village for ancient artifacts, and you can find out that's what that story is and why he's motivated to do that. Again, it's not random. We've thought through all these things and given that deep story. We just don't force it upon you as a gateway to having the fun.
Oh, that's awesome. And so I think that for people who really want to see the deeper story, we have the fiction program, mm-hmm. We'll have the sort of libraries and things in the game, lots of ways to get to it. What we really want to do is eliminate those barriers up front that feel like a tax on your time.
Right, exactly.
And so I think in the meantime, the best thing that the folks out there can do is let us know what you think of the fiction. Read the novellas and the short stories that are going up on EverQuestNext.com. Give feedback to Steve, myself, and the rest of the team about what you want to see, what kinds of stories you like, and we will develop in that direction.
Yeah, definitely. We have this amazingly rich history, this tableau to draw on, and there's no shortage of places that we can tell stories about. So seeing what the fans are liking, what resonates with them, really helps us guide the story program going forward.
Thanks very much to Steve Denuser for joining us, and thank you guys for participating in the roundtable. We'll see you again next week.
See ya.